So what subject should I do on my standards check? Well, this is a never-ending question really, because it depends very much on you. But let me start at the beginning by saying, if you have a little look at the standards check 1, so the form that you're going to be marked against, you'll see the subject boxes here. So having had a look at those subject boxes, the next thing I'm going to say to you is forget about them. They are not for you to be worried about. You do not have to fit your subject into these boxes. These are purely here for the SE's benefit, to allow the SE just to tick, to save some time, and not for you to be overly worried about. They're just the most common boxes, if you like, the most common subjects that people will do. And quite often the SC doesn't necessarily tick those to begin with anyway. They sit and watch the lesson, because possibly the lesson is going to develop in such a way that it covers numerous subjects or skills that are in there. If you chose a subject that's not in those boxes, there's another box there that says other, and they'll fit it in. So don't you be worried about fitting your lesson subject into those boxes. Having said that, let's look at how you would go about choosing a subject. Now, I would say have a think about yourself. Have a think about what you enjoy doing. So not only does your subject have to fit the pupil you're taking, and there is a separate video about choosing your pupil, so if you are watching this video, I recommend that you watch that one, and vice versa, because the two go hand in hand. So not only does it have to fit the pupil, but it has to fit you. So think of the subject that you really enjoy teaching. Now, if you don't particularly enjoy those first few hours where perhaps your level of instruction is quite full on, the lessons are quite intense, there's lots of kind of basic car control stuff going on, and that doesn't suit your method of teaching, then perhaps don't consider taking up a pupil where your subject is going to have to be one of those kind of subjects. Equally, if you prefer the subjects that are perhaps more thought-provoking, so the awareness and planning and anticipation type of subjects, the what-if scenarios, the post-test scenarios, perhaps you're better off taking a pupil who is perhaps a little bit more near a test, or even your pass plus type of pupil. So look at your own skills, look at what you want to showcase and that you enjoy and that you feel that you're good at, and match your subject and then your pupil to that. So let's look at some subjects that do work really well. Now, those thought-provoking ones, those ones that do include awareness and planning anticipation, so things like meeting situations and roundabouts, and even country roads, rural roads, they can be really, really good, really meaty subjects to go deeper with your Q&A while practicing those physical skills. So again, if that is something that you enjoy doing, those type of subjects do work really well. Equally, the subjects that I have seen work well include motorways. So if you are choosing to do Pass Plus and a full licence holder, I recommend that you look at the full licence holder video that we've done, so that you're just a little bit aware of some of the issues there. But that can be, again, a really good, juicy kind of subject to get into. Now, another subject that subject that we've seen work well are mock tests. Now, I have a video about doing mock tests and whether you can get away with doing a mock test on your standards check. What I would say that I have seen worked well is doing a mock test before your standards check. So taking a pupil who is test ready, perhaps has a test booked or is thinking about booking a test, and doing a mock test with them either just before the standards check, so even in the hour before the standards check, or in a few days before, or that lesson the week before with them, and doing that full mock test, but not debriefing it with them, so not even giving them the result, so no talk whatsoever, so that your standards check becomes the debrief of the mock test that you've done. The beauty of doing a subject like that is that it's very client-centred. You then have a piece of paper that clearly shows you what your client is needing to work on with an aim and for a reason. So that can work really well. Now, don't feel that on your standards check you then have to necessarily re-go round the route that you did to be looking at those faults and picking up those faults. Think of it from the skills. So what skills were they lacking and got thrown up, if you like, on their mock test, and work on those skills. Now, obviously, if it was area specific, so a particular roundabout or a particular road layout that they didn't quite get, then you might be wanting to go back and revisit that area. But I wouldn't necessarily be looking at test routes. The problem with test routes, and it's probably worth looking at the video entitled Choosing Your Route or Planning Your Route for the Standards Check, is that they tend to be 38 minutes long, and the last thing you want to do is find yourself 27 minutes out with an issue that now needs to be worked on, and having to find yourself back and getting back and all that, that goes with that kind of test route. So don't necessarily focus on a test route, focus on the issues that came up in the mock test, practice those skills, obviously area specific if they have to be, and go from there. That certainly works well. We have lots of feedback from people who say that debriefing mock tests work really well. The other advantage of that is that you can also be talking about the psychological effect of being in that test environment. And of course what's going to happen on your standards check is you have an examiner with you, so you're almost mimicking those type of things, so you can look at coping skills and strategies as well. So think about what works for you, think about what's going to work for your pupil. As I said, the 2 and 2 go hand together, and look at the skills that you're wanting to do within those subjects. So focusing on the practical skills and or the mental skills, not necessarily the subject that you're going to get in here. Okay, so that's my little tip there. Thank you.